see. I'm waiting for the audio to connect. Let's see. I don't know if you can hear me. It looks like is it working? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? There we go.
All right. Oh, okay. I'm
There
sorry.
we go. No, that's okay. I was trying to figure out if I can help you in some way. I'm not very tech savvy.
I'm gonna figure it out myself.
All right. Cool. Okay. I was like, oh crap, how do I ask her to put the microphone on?
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm just beside myself. I'm so nervous.
We're totally nervous. Just a bunch of sisters talking to each other. No need to be worried. We're all family.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right. I think this is our first channeling session together. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. So before I start, let me just real quickly kind of go over how I work, and because I know a lot of people know me from the videos and they know that those are trans channelings. It's a little bit different than when I do personal sessions, because it just simply isn't always possible to have a soul into my body and take over nonstop. That wouldn't be very good for me. So when I do private sessions, I'm an intuitive that really works with emotions mostly. All right. So the way that I receive information starts always with emotions. And those emotions then start to create visualizations, pictures in my head, sometimes conversations in my head, sometimes it's just knowings. And for some reason, why and how, I don't know, but for some reason, my body really quickly just kind of puts that into a conversation. Okay. But that's kind of the mechanics on what's going on within me. You'll see that my eyes will go a little bit all over the place, but I'll show you in a minute. There's nothing I'm looking at. But it's simply because I don't need my eyes when I channel, because I'm not really looking at anything. So I'm kind of looking within. So my eyes just kind of float all over the place. I will just call it that. It's kind of like people tell me I look like Stevie Wonder sometimes.
Okay. Right.
Another thing, well, I'll show you first. So there's nothing here. I have some papers here. There's nothing there. It's just blank papers. Okay, just a scribble. There's nothing here, nothing here on the side. Okay, just in case I know you believe me, but just in case you want to show people. There's nothing behind my camera. This is behind my computer, and I'll be usually looking in that direction where my dad is. Where my dad is. Yeah, he helps me. So this is the direction I usually look to. Okay, so when I channel, I don't control who comes in. Okay, now if there are specific entities that you wanted to communicate with, and let's say I'm not picking up on them, I want you to know that it doesn't mean they're not here, and it doesn't mean they don't love you. Okay. Sometimes they have a hard time communicating. They're not used to it. Sometimes it's my frequency that they have a hard time connecting with. You always have to understand that we're dealing with energetic beings. And so in order to communicate, we have to actually merge together in our energy fields in order to have the communication. Okay. And sometimes spirits just simply don't know how, or simply don't have the same frequency as I do, but or sometimes they really think that other entities have better things to say at this moment. Okay. So I don't want you to think that if somebody doesn't step forward that they don't care about you, because they do. Okay. It's not because I'm not picking up on them. I'm only human. You know, I can only pick up on the frequencies that align with mine, and that's it, you know. I want you to know that, because I've had many readings where people said, well, this medium told me my son didn't want to see me. You know, if they tell you that, ask for a refund. Don't even start the reading. Just ask for a refund and just go home. All right. They're always there. They always love you. And, you know, especially from up there, their perspectives on life change and on the experience. So never, ever think that. Now, if you have specific questions, don't be afraid to get them in there, okay? Most of the time, my readings, it's not even necessary to ask questions. A lot of times the spirit already knows what you want to know. But just in case, we have sometimes very human questions that spirit is like, not that important, but we think it's important. Don't be afraid to get them in there, okay? And if there's something that I'm expressing that you don't understand, or you want more information on, don't hesitate to interrupt me. It's okay. Okay. Sometimes it goes real fast. People get a lot of stuff when they talk to me. And so sometimes people are afraid to interrupt, but that's okay. Don't worry about that. And I always tell people, you know, don't shoot the messenger. Sometimes spirits can be really into your face. Sometimes they can be really gentle. I trust that they will address you in a way that's going to help you. Okay. Sometimes we need a kick in the ass. It just, sometimes it's necessary. All right.
Sounds like my
And
family.
you know, and sometimes you need, you know, sometimes you need a little hug, you know. So I trust that they will address you in a way that is right for you. And last but not least, I always tell people, don't focus solely on the words that are being expressed, because don't forget, it has to go through my filter. I have to have a word that I know and understand in order to be able to use it, right? What's more important, after all of these years that I've been doing this, and I've been doing this for quite some time, way before channeling Eric, I was already doing this. What I've noticed out of experience is that the way that the messages make you feel, how you emotionally respond to the messages, that's the true guidance. That's the pure guidance. Okay, words can be misinterpreted because my language might not be as extensive as some other people. So I try my best to express what I feel, what I receive, what I get. But understand that how you feel about it, that's the true communication from your team. They want to spark a response within you, not simply fling words at you. They want to make you feel something, because we as humans respond from emotions and not simply from words. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And that's about it. And I'm recording it for you. So you'll get a recording of that if everything goes well. Should I lose you, just in case? Normally not. The internet on my end seems pretty good today. Not always, but sometimes it does happen that there's a little glitch. Don't panic. Just go back to the same link that you came on. Okay. It's not going to stop working. It's going to continue to work. And that's about it for me. Do you have any more questions before we start?
My family members that have passed, I've been thinking about this, and it could get pretty gnarly.
Okay, that's okay. We'll see what happens you know, and just keep in mind, like I said, once we cross over, we're no longer the same people as when we were here.
That's
Okay,
right.
so keep that
And
in
I'm not-
mind. There's a lot of healing going on. There's a, you know, we go through a whole process when we transition. It's not just boom, you're in heaven. Okay, great. You know, we really go through a lot of emotions and a lot of processing to get a wider perspective and a better understanding. But like I said, I trust that whatever comes through is going to help you. That's always my intent. That's what I send out to before I start the video. I always send out, please help me help you. That's my intention that I always request, and therefore we'll see what happens and we'll see what comes through. Okay.
Okay.
No
All right.
worries. Don't be nervous. It's going to be great.
All right.
All right. I'm going to just write down your name. This is my scribble pad. I'll show it to you from time to time. If you want a copy of this at the end of the session, just let me know. And I'll scan it and email it to you. I'm just looking at your name because I forgot. Sorry. Dorothy.
Pam. Yep.
Okay, there we go. I see so many names in a day, sometimes I forget. Okay. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of visually opening up the doors. It's kind of like, you know, like going to the doctor and just opening up the waiting room. That's what I imagine. And I'm just going to invite your spiritual team in first so you could get acquainted, because I think it's a really important thing to know. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm definitely seeing 4 entities that are stepping forward, and it's kind of nicely divided. I do see 2 angels, 2 guides. So that's
Wow.
good. Nicely balanced, nicely balanced. Okay, let's see here. Let me see if I can get an introduction. Sometimes I get names, sometimes I don't. Okay, it really depends on spirit, whether or not they're able to provide that for me, or whether or not I can pick up on it. Sometimes I get Chinese people and it's like, I
Yeah.
can't pick it up because it's just not a name that I'm familiar with.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I know the first angel that you have is Gabriel. Okay.
Wow.
Gabriel's cool. Strict, but cool. I like Gabriel's energy. Okay, so you also have an angel who calls herself Julie. So we're just doing introductions now, and then we'll see who else and what their message is, and we'll just roll with it. That's what we do. We roll with it. So you have a female entity as a guide. I'm just trying to see if she can provide me with a name, because it would be a lot easier if you knew who to talk to. I kind of see Wheel of Fortune. That's probably why you see I feel my eyes going back and forth. But it's kind of like a Wheel of Fortune. You kind of see A and B, and it stops.
Okay.
Okay, so you have a female guide who calls herself Marilyn.
I love that name.
And then there's a male entity. by the name of George. So that's your spiritual team right there. Okay, so you have Gabriel, Julie, and then you have Marilyn and George. All right. And we're going to talk to him in a minute here. I just always like to do and just kind of see who steps forward and get the introductions done, and then they can say and do what they want to do.
Can George be a relative that passed away?
It feels like a relative. It feels almost like a father or a grandfather energy to me.
Like a great uncle, maybe?
Like a what?
Great uncle?
It's possible. Is it possible that it's on your father's side?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like there's a connection because there's multiple men here that are connected to him. Okay. I can see there's a young man who calls himself Jesse.
That's my nephew.
And then there's another man who calls himself David, I think.
That would be my brother.
I feel, is it possible that your parents are deceased as well?
Yes, they are.
Because I feel that there's a couple standing next to David, and I don't think that it's his wife or anything like that, because I do feel like a female energy right next to David, and then there's another man next to her. So, and they're kind of, you know, my sign or my signal for, okay, these guys are related is they kind of go arm in arm. You know, they cross arms with each other, and that's how I know that, okay, these guys are connected, you know, relationship wise, that there's a connection there. But these people seem much older than, excuse me, than Dave or David. He says both are fine. Both are fine. He says Dave or David.
I think David died about a year in August, so very recently, really. Maybe 2 years. I lose track of time. Very recently.
He's showing me on the timeline of the human race. It's going diggy, 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 diggy. I think it's like, it might have been 2018, the end of 2018, maybe?
Yes.
Or August?
Yes.
Is that possible?
Yes.
August 2018, I think, is what he's showing me.
I'm very glad he's okay.
I think he might have been sick when he died. Is
Very.
that correct? It just feels like suffering, and he's showing me it's gone. It's gone, you know.
What I thought of when he died, I said, well, he's not in pain anymore. Oh my God.
Now he's what is he saying? He just wants to tell his girls.
Yes.
He wants to tell his girls. He's showing me girls, female energies that we're always surrounded by. He wants to tell his girls is he's pain-free.
Okay.
Chilling in nature.
Yes.
He's showing me like sitting in this kind of lounge chair, surrounded by forest and just kind of farmy, foresty kind of place.
That's what we love.
And he wants them to know. I don't know if you could pass on the message. But he's saying he wants his girls to know that he's chilling and relaxing, sipping a Jim Beam and Coke. I don't know what that is. I think it's a drink of sorts. He's showing me like a drink.
Like a mixed drink thing. Okay, I'll tell him.
I don't know anything about alcohol.
Well, he
So
will
I don't know what a
drink.
Jim Beam is,
I think it's
but
a whiskey.
okay. But Jim Beam and Coke, he wants them to know he's sitting. For some reason, it's important that they know that. He's just like, he's showing me this picture in my head of just kind of like being at peace and being happy with the journey that he had, despite all, the many mistakes. He says, turns out they weren't mistakes. It was all part of the growth process for everyone. But he's just saying that he's just lounging and he's sitting with his cat, Fred.
All right.
And he's just chilling because he said Fred was the only one who ever listened to me anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he's joking though. He's laughing. He's pulling pranks, I think. But he just wants people to know that he's okay. And it feels to me like the relationship, when it comes to your family, he's showing me that family's complex. It has not been, you don't have one of those families that's very tight and everybody hangs together and everybody does everything together. It really is like everybody living on their own planet. And a lot of times there's been disagreements, different perspectives. And he's showing me that the relationship between you guys was a little strained as well in some way or form, and he does regret that. He has many regrets in regards to just how things went. Did it have something to do with mom and dad? Did it have something to do with after their death? It just feel like it just went south. Like he's just showing me it had to do with mom and dad somehow. He's not giving me the details. He's just making me feel that there was a connection, and that everything just kind of started building up and festering, and it just kind of got bigger and bigger and bigger, and people got further and further and further away from each other in order to self-protect.
Yes, my parents abused him very, very badly. He got the worst of it.
Yeah.
The rest of us also got it.
And it just, he says, I should have, although he understands, he says that from the spiritual perspective, everything happened for a reason. And that reason was to be pushed into the self-creation of our own life, to not be dependent on anybody from the past to determine what your life looks like or how it feels like or anything like that. So it was all about emotional independence, or at least trying to reach that. The goals were emotional independent, independent creation, to not be shaped, formed, or infused by your parents' ideas or your parents' desires, or a lot of people that are close, they grow up and they become copycats of each other, and they think they have an independency, but they don't. They've just taken everything that mom and dad did and they're just putting it into their life, and they say it's mine, but it's not.
We went this way. Whatever my parents did, I did the opposite.
And that's exactly what you wanted. That's what you wanted for the journey, is to be pushed away and say, I am not them, but it also brought a lot of struggles emotionally, brought a lot of pain, it brought a lot of trauma with it. But he says, when it comes to looking at it now, he understands that it was all part of a plan. It was all part of a desired plan. And he said, in order for him to kind of, he's showing me like that was his survival mechanism. was to disconnect as much as possible, because you reminded him of the past and other people reminded him of the past. Does that kind of make sense? He's talking about, is there another brother in the story?
I have 3 brothers.
Okay, because he's
including
showing me
David.
the word brother. So it's almost like he disconnected from almost everyone because he just couldn't handle the past memories. And you know,
Early on, he disconnected.
yeah. And everybody kind of did, is what he's showing me. You still
Yeah.
sort of stayed in touch, but not to a degree where, you know, there was weekly calls and all of that.
Yeah. My brother Bill also died. He died in like 1995-ish. And my brother Michael, who is coming to my house on the 1st with his wife. Yeah. It's the first time we've ever talked. I swear.
And it's time, he says. It's time. Because he's talking about there's a new chapter beginning, and you feel that. You feel it inside of you. Like, because you've healed from everything. It's almost like you've worked through a lot of things. Okay. Yeah, you've done a lot of processing, and this has been a years of processing and trying to put it in the right perspective, trying to understand what was the journey there, what was, you know, he's just showing me that you were one of the first who wanted to look beyond, you know, beyond the screen and say, okay, why did this happen, and what did I go, you know, what do I do with that, and how do I make it productive in some way or form?
Yeah.
And he says that's because you're the most intuitive of all. You've always been very different, he says. You've always been very dreamy as a little kid, and he's showing me that you have the ability to truly see energy, and you've kind of lost that ability. But he's showing me as a child, you really had a special connection to animals. You can talk to them. You can communicate to them. You understand them while other people do not. And it's because you are very sensitive to energies, and that's why nature is very important to you, and the animals, and it just makes you feel more connected to the source that your soul vibrates on, which is a very loving, high vibrational source, you know. And he says, never lose that, never, keep feeding it, keep nurturing it, because you're the glue, you're the healer of the family. You're going to bring the family together again. Okay. And this is the new chapter for you. And you know that on an unconscious level, you can feel it. But now you need to be consciously aware of it, that yes, this is going to happen. And we need to help each other in a loving, constructive way, without judgment, without trying to control people, but only allowing space for healing and reconnection to occur in whatever way or form it does. It's about taking it slow, he says. It's about allowing it to unfold naturally without trying to force anything. Okay.
All right.
And just simply your energy, your loving energy, you're a very, you know, despite the fact that you don't think so, he says, but you are much more patient than any of our family members. You know, you have more patience, and it takes you longer to get really to that boiling point, he says, but you do sometimes get there. You do get annoyed from time to time, and people will hear about it. You know, and that's okay. Embrace that fire inside of you, he says. You have to embrace it. He's just making me feel so much love for you, you know, and he wants you guys to reconnect as well. He wants a new relationship. with you from the spiritual now. So, he's just kind of asking for approval, if he's allowed to communicate to you, if he's allowed to connect to you from the spirit world, because he says, I'm so ready to assist this, this healing process for everyone. And I just simply want to help with the energies, and I want to help clear a lot of things, if that's okay. And just simply
Yeah.
talk to you, give you a little scare every now and then. He says.
Well, if it's for the greater good, then yes, of course. But he did scare me quite a bit when he was alive.
Yeah. And he
I-
understands that. That's why he's asking for approval, because he's not going to do anything against your approval. And he says, all I want to do now is reinvent our relationship, which is now focused on, understanding and love. And I'm not the person I used to be anymore. And just understand that person was pain. What you saw was pain and suffering that came out in a way that was incorrect, but it was the only way that I knew how to express it. It's almost like he's making me feel like he felt like he couldn't win against his parents. Like he had no control. No control. And so what he started doing is trying to gain control in other places, but in the wrong way. And he knows that, and he's learned from that, and he's accepted that, that he made mistakes, because he says in our lifetime, he says, that's why I got sick.
Yes.
I couldn't let go of the anger. And that wasn't part of the plan. That is something that my human self created and manifested. Because the original plan was for all of us to heal, for all of us to, come together again and reinvent our own family, to make our own family, to no longer base it on the past, but basically reinvent a whole new family dynamics between all of us. But in order for all of that to happen, I needed to change, and I couldn't let go of the anger. I couldn't let go of the pain. And so it started to fester inside of me. And, eventually it led to my death, and that's okay. That's okay. But he says, I didn't get to fulfill the journey that I wanted to. So I want to continue to fulfill that journey now from spirit, if that's okay, because that's what I was meant to do. And we were all meant to come together in some way or form.
Okay. I'm open to that completely.
He says that, thank you. And I love you so much. Never think that I didn't love you, because I did. I just couldn't show you. It's almost like you reminded him too much of your mom, but it's not how you were, but maybe it's the way you looked. Maybe, I don't know what it was, but yeah.
Which I don't like, but I do.
Oh, I'm sorry, honey.
I try to do everything I can not to look like her.
Oh, really? Wow.
And I try everything I can not to act like her. I'm sorry, it's just what I do. I am my father. I try to go the other way completely from them.
Yeah.
It was just too much, just way too much.
Your angel Gabriel was there to protect you, is what Gabriel is saying. He's always protected you. Okay. And he's also trying to heal you, because he says, despite the fact that you have the intellectual knowledge and understanding, how the universe operates and why we choose certain experiences, it has still affected your body. The energies you're still holding on to them. You've hidden them away. You've put them in a little drawer, but you haven't fully released it yet. And he says that has had an impact on your system, on your physical system. Okay. And so
release that.
Yeah.
Uh,
And so the only way you know, the easiest way for me, he says, to explain it to you on how to do that is by being able to look at your past and all of that flowed out of it. Okay, everything that came out of it, and to really just simply see it as it was just an experience. It's not even real. Okay, just simply see it for what it is. It was an experience in order for you to grow and ascend a he's calling it it's like a cubicle is what he's showing me. I think what he's trying to say is, you know, sometimes our upbringing pushes us in a shape and a form, and then that's who you are for the rest of your life. You're that cubicle, you know. That's what he's saying. So you just have to see it for what it is, because the souls, the higher selves of your parents, of all the family members, every single one loves you dearly. You know, it's just this temporary virtual reality who created certain experiences in order for you to understand better who you were, and that you were not them, that you were not all of that ugliness, that you were better, that you were more beautiful, more loving, more compassionate, more light being. Okay, it was simply to make that very clear to you that you are not another person. You are you, and only
Yeah.
you. Does that kind of
Yeah.
make sense? And so by really embracing that, because when we can see the value in everything we did, and when we can truly embrace it, then we can, in a way, you'll get to a point where you will be able to thank your parents. Thank you for showing me what a person I did not want to be.
Yes.
And the moment you can truly thank them and feel that, because it'll start with an idea and then you have to feel it. When you truly feel grateful of the blessing they gave you, the gift of seeing your true self, of the gift of being allowed to reject any kind of predetermining brainwashing and simply
Yeah.
start from anew and say, I'm going to make my own journey.
Yeah.
That can be considered a gift. And once you can see it as a gift, then all of that negativity will leave your body and you will feel so much better, he says. Your body will re-heal itself, because it just almost feels like he's showing me that you really are holding all of the pain in your, like in your belly area, in the solar plexus area.
Yeah.
And then it's also affecting the oxygen levels in your blood, in your body. And so what happens is he's showing me that the blood vessels become kind of slow and sluggish. They're like,
Yeah.
you know, they're not going freebie and going, we're all happy here in this body. They're kind of become sluggish, and you know, and then you get problems. You know, you get stabbings in the heart, you get a bad circulation, things like that. You know, and that's really the pain. That's a stress as well. Stress, fear, and really just kind of unresolved energy that's still there. You have mentally worked at it, but now you need to emotionally work at it. That's the last phase of healing. And once you do that, you're going to be liberated, and you're going to feel amazing, and you're going to feel inspired, and you're really going to be able to do and love life again to the fullest. Okay. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes. Yes, that's what I needed to hear. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's important, he says. It's really important. And you're going to do it, because we're doing it together. He said, he's rubbing his hands. I'm sorry, he's rubbing his hands. He's so excited, because he's like, this is when it's happening. You know, this is the new chapter. And you're still going through another year and a half of kind of transitioning, you know, but he's showing me that 2024, 2025, you should feel like free as a bird. Like you will have a complete new perspective on everything. And it's not because you didn't have that perspective before, but it's because now your perspective will align with how you feel.
Yeah.
While before everything was very intellectual, you understood, you you know, but you didn't always feel what you understood, you know. This and this is going to align starting 2024, 2025. This is going to start aligning. And even though the world around you may seem chaotic, it doesn't have to impact you. You're not supposed to participate in the chaos anymore. You've done that. Done that. You scratch that off your list. Okay. You're like, done, you know. Focus on you, focus on your happiness, focus on what brings you joy, he says. And you'll see your body relive, like almost like reheal itself to a degree where there's no more complaints. You'll just feel like you're 20 years old again. That's what we're working towards, is what Gabriel says. But he says, always know that I'm there. You do have a pre-designed kind of end, you know, transitioning time. Not everybody has that, but you did pre-design it because you want it to be peaceful. So know that it's not your time to go home anytime soon, and he will make sure that you don't go home until you are ready to go home, until it happens at the time and in the way that you wanted it to. All right.
I'll try to be as open as I can to energies. I won't try to shut it down anymore.
Yeah, he says, just don't fear it. The more, if you don't fear anything, then nothing negative can ever come into your reality. You know, don't fear me, he says. You know, I've always been there, and I've always tried to help you through it. And I always will, you know, until you come home, and and then we get to meet in person, he says. But know that I'm there. If you feel anxious, if you're having a bad day, if you feel not great, he says, I will already be there, but just reach out to me so you can make that human connection in your head. And he's just showing me that he has been communicating to you in different ways. He's showing me that he does send you a lot of repetitive symbols. Okay, it could be numbers, it could be the same songs coming back, it's just repetition is what he's showing me. And that's just simply his way of acknowledging that he's with you. Okay.
Somebody is with me. I get the signs, I get the feelings. Yes.
Isn't that great though? I love it when they give us that. He's just smiling. He says, I got your back. Don't worry. We're in this together. Don't worry. You got your back. And he says, just understand that although this is a journey where everything is very focused on the very personal experience, your personal healing with your family all together will also influence the collective in a positive way, because you will have taken negative energy and turned it into a blessing. And that energy will then affect the collective as well in a very positive way. So understand that you're important in this whole collective healing as well.
That's why I'm here.
Julie. Oh, she's so loving. She's sending you big kisses. Julie helps you with relationships. So Gabriel is what we would call your protector, and the one who helps you with spiritual development. Okay. So your physical health, your protection of health, and then your spiritual development. Julie, on the other hand, is showing me that she's the one who helps you with relationships and how you feel in them. Okay.
It's a hard one for me.
And that's a toughie one, because she's talking about even with your partner, it's like the relationship is not what you thought it would be. Okay. But it's not, how would I say it? She's making me feel like, it's going to improve in some way or form. Okay. It's almost like the more you find your joy and the more you truly start living, it's like he's going to see, that person again that he fell in love with, and it's almost like it's going to re-spark or refire something. And it's going to go through a transitioning phase. Okay. And this is going to take a little bit of time. This is not going to be from one night to the next. but it's almost like the way that as you grow, as you truly start to align with your true self, and you start getting excited again about life and about family and about all of that, the more you move into that light, the more your partner is going to be like, whoa, I like that, and it's going to spark him as well. Like your energy is going to be infectious, like a virus, and it's going to start spreading, and he's going to get kind of, because it's almost like he's tired. And it's not about you. It's not, he's just, life is a little bit droopy. And it feels to me like he's a very creative person. Like his mind seems to be very creative in whatever way or form. And he's kind of losing that creativity in the world. It's like the world has lost its creativity, and therefore he's starting to lose it as well. And that makes him a little bit down.
I can feel that with him, yes.
So, but it's almost like your light is going to re-spark inspiration. You're going to revive things, or at least it's supposed to. There's always possible futures. But at this time, the most likely future is for your relationship to kind of rebloom. That's what the future right now, the most, as if the energies continue the way that you're doing it now, that's the most possible future, is for that relationship to kind of get reinvented,
Purpose, I feel like we need a purpose.
Yeah.
Something to do, something fun to do, to work towards.
And it's going to be important to really kind of do new things, explore new things, take a dancing class, even if it's a freebie one, whatever it may be, or a painting class, or you do things together. You go on a trip, or you go on a vacation, or whatever it may be. Julie says it's about placing the both of you in an environment that you're not used to, getting out of your comfort zone and exploring new activities together, and see how you respond to it. Oh, I hate this. Oh, I love this. It's about
get him to do things like that. He kind of does the repetitive all the time, and I know he's bored with life, so I'll work on that.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just about planning something and say, hey, I already paid for it, so you better be coming.
Get in the car, we gotta go.
Get and go. I'm not taking a no for an answer, and that, because you guys are very much habit animals. You do like the comfort of predictability, but it no longer brings any joy. So, it would be madness to continue to stay in that, so that's what she's suggesting when it comes to your romantic relationship, is to really, try new things, surprise him, surprise him with something. You say, hey, look what I did, surprise him in the bedroom, whatever it may be, She's kind of laughing, but she's saying it always works with men. She's laughing though. She loves you so much, but she wants you guys to really start living again. You've just laid low way too long. It's time to get your butt into gear, start really exploring the world again. Because despite what other people want you to believe about the outside world, there's still a very exciting, beautiful world out there for all of you to explore. And there's still so much, she says, about yourselves that you haven't explored yet. So this is all part of the new chapter. It's time to rewrite, and everything's about renewal, even just the home, you can simply feel re-energized by clearing the clutter, selling what you no longer need, and maybe rearranging the furniture just to give it a new look, maybe some new picture frames. And sometimes we need to do very simple, inexpensive things, just to give us the feeling that, okay, so, something has changed and it's all new and it's beautiful. So don't be afraid to experiment with simple things, and selling old things that you no longer need and junk. That can all make you money that you then can invest in something, a fun activity, a nice trip, whatever it may be. Does that kind of
Okay.
make sense? So she's
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
she says, think in that kind of form, because you have collected a lot of stuff with a
Yeah.
lot of old energies that really
That's
could,
a
yeah.
lot.
So, you know, sometimes clearing the the energy of the home is important as well. Because
Yeah.
despite the fact that how much you clear yourself as well, if the home environment is holding on to old energies, then that needs to be cleared as well. And sometimes, you know, clearing the clutter and just kind of getting rid of old things that really don't serve you anymore can make a whole, like a huge difference in the energy of the home as well.
Right.
Okay, so that's her tip for you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Gabriel. Is my nephew?
Yeah. See, you're thinking about it and he's stepping forward. See how that works?
Okay.
Jesse, he's super excited to talk to you. So, okay, so his dad is coming to see you, right?
Yep, on the 1st. And his wife, Donna. They've been with McKenna all winter and they're going home.
So
They're
he's
stopping by.
making me feel like, what are you? It's almost, there's something about his death that's bizarre.
Yeah.
He's making me feel these feelings of almost in a way inviting it in. Does that make any sense? But he's not clear on what happened, but he's just giving me feelings that in some way or form he manifested his death.
Yeah. Well, this is where the gnarly part comes in.
Right.
Jesse's girlfriend got him a gun for Christmas one year, and Jesse and his brother Eric got into a fight, and Jesse, I don't know if he knows this, but he shot Eric. He's all right. And then he shot himself and killed himself.
Okay, so that's where those feelings come in from. He invited it, he manifested it, he created it. Okay.
Is he okay?
He's okay. He says he is okay. He is making me feel like he wasn't okay for a while though.
I know.
You know, and that's why the feeling of he manifested his death, like what I mean by that is in some way form, you know, they wanted this to happen in some way or form, you know, because they weren't feeling good. He didn't feel like he fit in any way or form. And it's like no matter what he tried, because he says, I tried really hard.
I know.
He tried so hard, but it just no matter what he tried, it always failed. Like everything failed. And so he really felt like, you know, he had nothing to offer. He really felt like he just couldn't figure out, what am I here to do? And, you know, why doesn't anybody love me? You know, and although, you know, he had a daughter, he's showing me a girl who loved him very much, but it just wasn't enough, you know, and that's not on her. But
I feel so terrible for moving away. I really never.
He says there's nothing, honey. He's saying there's nothing you would have been able to stop it. There's nothing you could have done. You know, this is just something that he created, and it was his choice. You know, and he just felt like the world would be better off without him. And after he's showing me that Eric, it's almost like he was in such a shock of what he had done that he went in this kind of psychosis kind of thing, and he didn't know what he was doing anymore. That's really what it came down to, because he loved his brother.
He loves him so much.
Yeah, he loves his brother, and I still love him, he says. And Eric is struggling too.
Oh,
He
I'm
is
so
struggling, and
thankful.
he's showing me that Eric is, he really leans towards the dark, and he really leans towards the more aggressive approach of life.
What can I do to help Eric? Is there anything I can do?
He says the only thing we can do is bring our family together and show them that we can rise as a phoenix from the ashes. You know, he simply just needs to understand that the past is the past and he can reinvent himself at any moment in time.
All
You know,
right.
he needs to let go of the anger. There's a lot of anger inside of him.
Oh,
And
angry.
he's just showing me that, you know, it kind of came, he says this might sound weird, but it almost runs in the DNA, this anger.
Oh,
It's
does.
genetic. It's like genetically passed on from generation to generation.
Father is the
And
same exact way.
yeah, and he's
Same.
talking about the love for killing and shooting animals, for example, and hunting and guns and drinking. And it's just, he's showing me that it's kind of this vicious cycle that's been passed on from generation to generation to generation, because
How do we change it?
it's
How
like
do
it's
we break
considered as normal, you know, and it's not. And he says
not?
the only, no, it's not, he says. And you know, the new generations are here to stop the cycle, you
All
know.
right.
He's talking about, you know, you guys, you know, trying to, you know, push the family into a new direction. But also he says it ends with McKenna. It ends there.
You know her
Um,
name.
he's saying that she's very different and she has a drive. She's stubborn. She's got her daddy stubbornness. And she's very tough, but she also has a golden heart.
Oh, yes.
And
she's a wonderful girl. I love her.
she's going to, you know, it is important that she really moves into the loving direction and really loving herself, and really focusing on the spiritual side of her as well. And that's something that's not been nourished yet. But he's saying that will come with time. But she's here to break the cycle of the anger and the aggressiveness and all of that. He's saying when it comes to Eric, you know, he just needs to understand that he's fully in control of his reality, as was I, but I felt out of control. I felt like no matter what I did, it led to nothing good. So, but that was because I believed that to be. I believed that I had no control. I believed that I had no power or say in my life, that there were these outer forces always working against me. And the moment we start believing that, that's the moment when it starts happening. That's the moment when we start to manifest everything failing around us. So Eric needs to understand that it starts with changing the belief systems, changing the patterns of thinking, and replacing them with hopeful, loving, and with a clear understanding of the law of attraction. You know, slowly but surely, he will find his way as well with your influence, you know. But don't try and fix him, because whenever people approach him and they say, you know, let me help you, he will push them away, you know, because then it just highlights that he can't help himself, that he can't do it himself, and he doesn't like that. So whenever help is offered, he will reject it in some way or form. So the only way that we can assist him at this time is to simply be the example, is to simply show him how hey, look at what I just manifested just by doing this and doing that, by giving, giving inspiration through the actions that we take ourselves. And by sending him love and healing energies in our prayers and in our meditation sessions and all of that, because he does have a wonderful team around him that did protect him from, not dying that day. He wasn't meant to die that day. Okay, so his team did protect him as best as they could. And they have been trying to work with him, but when we're in that kind of negative state of mind, it's really hard to hear them. So what his team will do is use different people around him to start planting little seeds that will then help him into a more positive direction. But I just want him to know that I never meant to hurt him, that it was one of those spur in the moment things, and it just, all of the anger just kind of came out. And he loves him so much because they were always together doing stuff.
Always,
They're like two peas in a pot,
yeah.
always
Yeah.
doing things together. They were inseparable.
He misses him so much. He talks about Jesse all the time.
Yeah.
He's-
And I
he's
just
very-
want him to know, he says, that I love him. I love
Yeah.
him so much, and I am so sorry for all the
Thank you.
pain that I've caused within my family. But I'm hoping that, from the spirit world, I can now truly create healing within them and help them to live their best lives yet, because it still needs to happen and it still needs to come. And I hope that I can help you guys, together with energy, with love, with guidance. You're going to feel it. You might hear it. It might be an idea. Just trust it. Okay. But the whole family here is trying to help to break the cycle of this family. And it needs to be done. It is meant to be done, and it is destined to happen. So I just want everyone to know that I'm there. You too. If you want to talk to me. He says, okay. And we're all trying to help and pitch in, because the time for love and the time for reconciliation and just kind of reconnection is now, because too many people have suffered while the pain was never theirs to bear. It was never theirs to carry it around. It was just passed on. And we need to acknowledge in the family that give it back to the people who it belonged to, send it back into nature, into the universe, for it to be neutralized, and understand that it never belonged to any of you in the first place, and that you still have time and space to reinvent your experience here on earth. And that's something that my message for everyone, and especially my little girl, although she's not so little anymore, it says, when I left, it's been a while, but he says he's there every day watching her, observing her, trying to protect her. And he says, I just want her to know that as long as she follows the light and as long as she follows love, then only good things can happen for her, and it's very important that she kind of understands that, because she does still hold a lot of pain inside of her, of the way that I left, he says. So she needs to let that go. He says, I never meant to hurt her. I just didn't think that I was worth anything.
Jesse, I love you.
I love you too. Very much. He seems like such a good boy, though. I mean, he's not a boy, he's a man, but the way that his energy feels, he feels like a little boy that had so much joy as a child, and it just went sideways.
He was always so good with his cousins and his brother. I mean, he was the leader. He took care of everybody. He was very good to them, and I miss him so much.
Oh, I know. There's a prankster too, he's showing me. Boy, did he like pulling pranks. Both of them. It's almost like they were always pulling pranks on each other,
Yeah.
pushing each other's buttons.
They were always together. Yes, very good friends, brothers, and very good friends. Poor guy.
He just wants his family to know he loves them. All, you know, his dad, Donna, everybody. He just wants everyone to know he loves them so much, and he doesn't want anyone to hold on to the pain anymore, because it's time to heal. He says it is so time. He says we can't keep moving in this direction anymore as a family. It's just destroying it. It's destroying everything, and it needs to stop. He says. It's kind of weird because your parents are there. I can see them.
Yeah. I mean,
did your dad have dark hair?
yes. Yeah. They're a very beautiful couple. Very attractive.
He looks a little bit Italian-esque, like. I don't know if that's what I'm seeing, but
dark Irish.
I just see dark hair, almost blackish. I mean, it could be dark brown, but it's almost blackish. And then I don't see any glasses.
No, not until later.
Yeah, I don't see any glasses, and he just kind of has kind of a squarish face.
Yeah.
It's not like a round like mine. It's more like down, and then it kind of goes like that.
Chiseled jaw kind of thing.
Yeah.
Very attractive man.
Yeah, he's a good looking man, and they're kind of presenting themselves to me as much younger, I think. I would probably say, like, because your mom is kind of like wearing this skirt that reminds me of like the 60s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They got married in, I think, 1948. I mean,
it looks like, you know, how would I say it? You know, when they first got together, like they were really happy, you know, like they love dancing. They keep showing me dancing, going out, doing things like that. But it's almost like something happened. And it almost looks like it started with your dad.
Yes.
And he just kind of built and built.
He was, his father died when he was 3, and his mother had his stepfather beat him and his sister almost daily, and he would run away to the man in town who was a known pedophile, and he became a pedophile, and he was like 2 different people.
Yeah.
They had 6 children, and he and her both, they abused us all. I mean, the beatings, he wasn't allowed to beat me, but I know he beat my brothers very badly, and he molested us all. I mean, David got the worst of it. David got, but we all have suffered terribly. My brother Bill died when he was 40, suddenly. We think it was a heart attack.
No, he's saying no. It's not a heart attack. He's showing me that it was a stroke.
He had a stroke? Okay.
A blood clot.
All right. Is he okay?
He is. He is. He's a little bit bigger.
Yes.
Is he kind of chubbier?
Yes.
I don't mean to be rude, but you know, that's a picture that he's giving me. You know, it's just kind of like this big teddy bear, like you just want to hug him. You know what I'm trying to say? And it just because David's standing next to him and he's more slimmer.
Yeah, he's slimmer and smaller.
Yeah, and then Bill has this kind of roundish face and then just kind of a round, he's kind of bally.
Hmm. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I just don't know how else to explain it. So going back to your parents, because I do feel like they want to step forward, but at the same
Correct.
time, they're kind of making me feel like you might not, you know, it's like they want to take it slow. Um,
I'm open.
because you know, your dad is just kind of in my head, it's like he's giving you a hug right now.
My father is.
Yes, which is not something he would do, right?
Never.
But
He never
he,
acknowledged me. He never spoke to me. He molested me and then ignored me my whole life.
yeah. And that's why he's saying, I don't know if she's ready because they're no longer the people they were here, you know? And he says, despite the fact that what they did to you was some of the most cruel, most evil things to do. He says, I didn't know any other way.
I know.
And he says
I
that's
don't-
not an excuse because we all have a choice to make. But I was raised with the understanding that that was how we treat each other in a family.
I know.
And it is been a very long. Does the name William ring any bells by any chance?
That's my oldest brother's name is William Bill.
Okay, because I hear another, for some reason I keep hearing William. Sorry, I interrupted him. Sorry, sir. He's just saying that, you know, despite the fact that we all have the choice to make different choices in life, he really was, he had no idea what love was. To him, that was love.
I know.
And he says, because I didn't have any control as a child,
None.
then the need for control later became so overwhelming
Oh, yes, very.
that it literally destroyed people's lives. And he says, despite the fact that there was a spirit contract that was fulfilled here, it took me years of therapy to accept that what I had done, and this might be something you might not be ready to hear or accept, he says.
Okay.
That's why I'm not sure if I should tell you, but
Go ahead.
it took me years to understand that despite the enormous guilt, because understand this, when we came home, we felt every minute of pain that we had caused all of you.
Oh, dear
We
Lord.
went through it as if we were you.
Oh, no.
And that was so destructive. And it took us years of angel therapy and of guidance to get back to the understanding that despite that pain, we did it. Our souls went and chose that journey because we loved you so much. that we were willing to do the most horrible things in order to offer you the opportunity for your souls to have certain experiences in order to get a better, expansive journey for yourself.
I understand. It's for the greater good of my journey to get a higher level of consciousness. But I feel so bad for them. I figured that
Don't feel bad for us. You know, that was our soul's sacrifice in a way.
I can't
Because
imagine.
we loved you so much and we still love you. But when you first transition, the impact of everything you do in your life is so massive that it literally, it blows you away. Literally, like you have no more. It's like you don't recognize yourself anymore because you've now experienced every bit of pain and disappointment and everything through the eyes of the people that you shared a journey with. And I mean everyone. That is friends, family, colleagues, everyone. And it was so, we made hell for you. And still today, after all of those years, it just feels like he's still not, because he says there's this, you have the human side of me will never be able, nothing can ever undo what we did. Nothing. Doesn't matter how much we change, that human side knows that from the human perspective, what was done, that's the devil's work.
Yes.
From our spiritual perspective, we love you so much. And it was one hell of a sacrifice for you guys to ask us to do that to you. And that's where the true perspectives come in. And I know not everybody is ready to accept that. And not everybody will see that as an apology. But it really, understand, he says, that we have other lifetimes together where we are very loving towards each other.
I figured we've had other lifetimes together.
Mhm. But he says
where
this
we
one was a challenge. And he says, I am so proud of you.
My father.
Never, your father is very, very proud of you because no matter what you witnessed, no matter what you experienced, you never lost your heart. You never lost your kindness. And you never lost your wits. You never let anything stop you from always seeking the love and always seeking the light. You know, you have.
Way.
He's just saying, you know, you have this drive inside of you that's always seeking the light. And no matter what happens, and you've been through massive disappointments in life, you're always going to go back to the light. And that, you know, he says that's admirable. You know, that's admirable. You didn't let the darkness win.
Never.
And you never will. Exactly. And that's why I am so proud of you. And I have so much admiration for you.
Thank
you know, and I know it sounds weird coming out of my mouth, he says, but I wanted to at least share this with you, you know, that your mom and I love you. And your mom, Your mom stepping forward. Your mom says, she's saying that she's sorry that she was weak because your father scared her to such a degree that she participated out of fear, because it got sometimes too, even he would attack your mom. And she's showing me how he's holding her against the wall, grabbing her neck and choking her if she doesn't do what he tells her to do. And she says, I want you to know that a lot of the things I did was out of fear because he wanted me to be his accomplice, his monster. And he made me that way. And I know that might not be an excuse, but understand that
I understand.
before you were all born, I was the one getting the beatings. I was the one getting choked. And so escape wasn't really part of the plan. There was no escaping your father.
No.
He would threaten to kill me if I left. So I had to become the monster in order to save my own life in some way or form. And I know how twisted that is.
I understand.
It's every mother should have given her life to protect her kids. And I just wasn't strong enough.
Well, now it all makes sense.
And she's very sorry.
Okay.
She just says, you know, I hope that you can forgive us and that we can one day we'll see each other again in different energies and different frequencies.
Yes.
And we will be able to heal what was, you know, and hopefully you can already heal it now a bit within yourself.
I mean, it's okay. I knew it was for my growth as a spirit. I knew that this was what it was all about. And I'm sorry they had to be a part of that. I feel bad for making this plan with them and coming into this life. I feel bad for that now.
Your mom's kind of giggling because she says, no, don't be sorry. This was all, everybody agreed. Okay. But just know that once you get home, you know, you're going to graduate very highly. She's laughing, laughing, you know, because she's showing me how she was a very cheery, bright person, and she was just kind of destroyed. She allowed another person to destroy her, and she says, don't let anyone ever take away your light, ever. Doesn't matter who they are. You know, don't do what I did. Not that you would ever do that, but to any degree, don't let anyone take away your light. If you feel like you can't be yourself, or you can't live the life that you feel you deserve because of other people's decision making or other people's intent, then you have to make a choice, and the choice should always be your happiness. Okay, I'm just sending that out there, she says, because losing yourself and allowing the opportunity for a brilliant, beautiful life to pass you by because somebody else doesn't want to cooperate, you know, is really the worst thing as any soul can do, because we will regret that at the end of the ride, you know. And when it comes to Leah, I just want you to know that okay, so I don't know if that's okay, but it's like your mom is actually one of the Leah's protectors. Okay. And it might sound weird, but it's her higher self who's guiding her. Not really your mom's consciousness, but the higher self. So the collective of your mom. And she's saying Leah is a very bright, intelligent soul, but who also struggles with herself, who struggles with her identity. She seems to she's still on the journey of trying to figure out who she is and what she wants to do and all of that. And sometimes she says the energies within the home are not, it's not that you guys aren't supportive, not at all. That's not it. But there's not enough excitement in the house, you know?
We all go to our computers in our own rooms and
Yeah,
very,
not enough. Let's do something as a family. Let's, you know, it seems to me like she's missing the funness. She's missing fun.
Yeah.
And because she's not having fun and as a family, you're not having fun, everything kind of is this survival energy. And she's kind of adopted that. And because she's in that survival energy, she's not getting the inspiration of, you know, and the joy for life. It's just like, okay, how can I survive my journey? And
gone off and she's here with her parents still. I'll try to do better.
The thing is, she says, you know, it doesn't all just have to be you that has to fix everything, okay? But it's about talking to each other, you know, talking to Leah, hey, we should go on a road trip, or we should do something fun, or let's go to the park and just, you know, have a picnic, or it doesn't have to cost much to do fun things.
She doesn't really want to hang around with me. I mean, I don't know.
And it's because that vibration has never been there. That dynamics have never been there. And so what you could do, and this is just your mom's higher self talking, is really talk to her and say, hey, what is something you've always wanted to do? Maybe we can do it. Maybe we can, you know, arrange it, or whatever. You know, see what she wants to do or what she wants to explore, you know.
She did have some good things to say about going to Hemingway's house in Florida. Is that something we should?
That might be something fun. Yeah. Even if it's just mother daughter, you know, it's really just having fun and getting interested in what she's interested in and seeing how you can support it and have fun at the same time, you know, because it's something that would be great for you as well, just to get away, just to get out and really kind of, you know, start rebonding again. And, you know, don't blame yourself. You know, it's really just the dynamics in the home has always been like this. There's no pulse.
There's no excitement.
No, and there should be a pulse, you know, ups and downs, and it should be a pulse. But it's not too late, is what she's saying. Okay. It's never too late. You know, and just it's going to bring more joy for you as well when you guys get closer, you know, when you guys get more, you know, because you are very different, but kind of opposites.
But then there's the full circle of, you know, we each cover everything, so.
Exactly, you know, but she just really wanted to still make sure that you got this message that, you know, she sees you guys in the future growing closer together. Okay. But there needs to be a step taken, you know, and it's about showing them that you can be fun and that you guys can have fun, and that, but you have to let go and let loose. It's
Right.
about not being too controlling on trying to, let's say you go on a trip, and some people will predetermine what they'll do each day, to not do that, but to simply, you book where you're going to stay, you go, and then one day at a time, you're like, what are we doing today? Okay. Okay. What do you think? What do you feel? To really kind of keep it loose, but fun, and
All
to
right.
just kind of giggle and laugh your way through it, and that's going to change the dynamics between you two, and really, it's going to bring you joy, and it's going to bring you excitement to then do more, because it's like, I actually had fun doing this. Let's do it again, you know. And together, you guys will really move back into a more upbeat, more fun experience of life, because it does need to happen. It's part of the new chapter. It's all about it's about innovation, it's about re-inspiration, it's about re-energizing, and it's about recreation of everything. That's really what the new chapter is about. You got carte blanche, you can do what you want, is what your spiritual team is kind of making me feel. It's like, it's up to you now to make the best out of life, to stop simply surviving, but to actually start living for a change, and to really start seeking beautiful, exciting, wonderful experiences, to start creating them instead of waiting for them to happen. Does that kind of make sense?
It does, but I've had a lot of really bad back problems. And I'm sure it's from my childhood because it's
Mm.
right in my low back.
Yeah, right there, like right above your butt.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's your solar plexus that they were talking about. You
Yeah.
store everything in that area, you know. Um,
So if I work on releasing that, then maybe I can do more in life. Is that
exactly. And that's what's going to happen. That's what Gabriel said. The more you
or
find joy, the more you get excited about things, the less the pain will reside, it will go away, and you'll have more energy. So really work on finding joy, and rearranging some stuff, and just clearing clutter, and really have a little bit more fun in life. Even if you're struggling physically, we can still do things that are going to uplift us, that are going to create things, paint, whatever it might be, try different things, and see what happens. And it's not about being perfect at everything, but it's simply to have new experiences. And that is it, that's really what it all kind of comes down to. And I'm going to start closing off a little bit, because we're out of time, but
I'm
I
gonna have
just
to make another
because I just feel like there's other people here as well.
yeah,
There's
I will
somebody.
make another session if I could
Yeah,
sometime in the future, not far off.
yeah, well, we'll try. But there's somebody called Henrietta here too.
Henry.
Anyway, yeah, Henrietta. And then there's a Mary Lee, I think.
Marilee? Yeah, that's my
Mary
husband's
Lee.
mother. Marilee.
Um,
Is Mikey there? Does Bill want to say anything really quick?
Bill. Why is he showing me inline, like line dancing or something? What is up with that?
I don't know. Did I do that? It does look like fun.
It's almost like he's kind of inspiring you to start dancing, because it's going to help you loosen your body up. Okay, in whatever way or form you want to do that. But he's showing me line dancing for some reason. It's something you would have a lot of fun doing, and
Yeah.
you can do it at your own pace. If it gets a little bit too much, you sit down again. So he's kind of showing me like it's time to dance. It's time to, a lot of people, when they start having aches and pains in the body, they start to become rigid, and they stop moving, because it hurts too much. But he's showing me that moving will actually improve, your flexibility will actually improve the pain, and not, because the less you move, the more the pain will grow, he says. So he's saying it's time for a dance, he says. I'll dance with you. It's showing me a cowboy hat, and you go, weehaw, let's go have some fun. It's kind of a weird hat though, because it's kind of like rolled up, like he rolled it up, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like a nice cowboy hat, it's just like a kind of a dusty, kind of a straw kind of looking hat. I don't know.
He sounds so happy. I'm so glad I'm just so glad that he's happy.
They're all, they're all in a good place, and they're all, over here, they're all getting along, and one day everybody's going to get along again. And there's been a lot of healing happening in the afterlife, a lot of healing. Okay, this has not been you got there and everything was great.
There's a lot to work
on. Like that. Okay, but there's been a lot of healing. And you were talking about Mikey,
my nephew. He just about 5 years ago, I think.
I don't know why, but he's showing me. Is he a goofball though? Because he's showing me sitting on a little rocking horse. I don't know what that's about. It's a little rocking horse, and he's going, yeah, look at me. It's just, that's what he's showing me. But he's like a bigger person on this tiny little horse. It's just, I don't know if he's joking around or if he's pranking.
I'm glad that he's having fun.
But it looks, the feeling that he's giving me is relief.
Oh God, yes.
Relief.
Oh yes.
Like, whew, I can breathe again. That's kind of the feeling that he's giving me.
I love you, Mikey.
But we'll be able to talk to him maybe next time a little bit more profoundly. But he loves you guys. I mean, everybody loves you. Everybody's sending their love and their kisses, and they understand that this is a process. Okay, healing is a process. But everybody's in a good place now, and now they're helping all of you. Now they're there to assist all of you, guiding you guys back together, trying to create healing in the family. So just know that you're supported and you're loved, and just have more fun. It's time for fun. It's time for truly living, it's time. It's time, and sometimes we need to make choices. And you have your guides, and Marilyn and George didn't get to talk much, but just know that they're there and they're assisting you and they're helping you in any way and form that they can. So talk to them, have fun with your dead relatives, put a few candles out and say, this is for Mikey and this is for Bill and this is, okay, who can blow it out quickest? Have fun with them, play with them. And that way you will allow them back into your field, and they'll be able to help and guide you more. Just know that from now on, they're coming from a loving perspective, a healed perspective, and they just want to see all of you to turn things around so you can truly start enjoying life for once. Okay, that's what they want for you guys, to see you guys happy again, because you all deserve it.
Thank you all. Love you all.
All right, sweetheart, I'm gonna let you go. I hope this was enlightening for you. And I know there's so many more entities that want to step forward and talk to you. I also have a little kitty cat too, that loves you, always with you, even in death. It's almost like she's always, she's your comfort. She's your little blankie, like how kids have a blankie. Whenever you're feeling down or you're feeling low, she's right there on top of your lap.
White?
She's all white.
All white, yeah.
All white and very fluffy. She looks like a big fluff ball.
Yeah, it's funky.
She looks like she's exploded.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it looks like. And she's got this kind of look like
Yeah.
I feel like she had attitude.
Oh,
Attitude. You know, don't mess with me. Don't mess with my peoples. That's the energy she's given me. She was very sweet, but she had a mind of her own. And she had pizzazz. You know, she had attitude. Like, watch me walk. You want to watch me walk. That's kind of the energy. But she loves you so much that even now she's still comforting you. You know, because you guys had a special connection, is what she's showing me. She wasn't a big fan of your husband.
No.
She's like, sorry.
It's true.
But yeah, I mean, she did what she wanted. That wasn't it. But you know, she
Good.
did when you needed support. She was there, is what she's saying, and she still is. So you can always count on her for coming in and kind of smoothing out your energy. That's what she does. She comes in, she purrs. You can't hear her, but she purrs, and it just kind of releases the tension and the energy, is what she does. So just know that she's there. She loves you. All right, honey, I'm gonna let you go. Big kiss. I will send you the recording. This is what it looks like. It's just this. Do you want me to send it to you?
Yeah, if I could.
Okay. I'm going to send you the recording with a program called WeTransfer.com. Okay. You should get it within an hour or so. Okay. So just check your emails. If you don't see it in your inbox, then just check your spam or your junk folder. Sometimes they end up over there. Okay. And all you do is you open the email. There's a code and a link in there. You click on that. That'll take you to their site. You just accept the terms. It's all free. Okay. You just accept the terms, and then you'll get a download link, and then you can download it onto your computer, and that way you have it forever. And you can rewatch it if you need to, if you need a little pep me upper or a little boost.
Brother.
And I always recommend to watch it, because sometimes people do notice EVPs on there. It's where you hear voices that we don't hear when we're recording. Yeah, so it does happen. And that's how you do it. If you have problems downloading, just let me know. Normally, you know, most people can have no problems with it, but just make sure you download it within 7 days, because otherwise that link becomes inactive. Okay. And that's about it. And if you have any problems, just let me know. Okay.
Thank you so much, Emma.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it so much.
Oh, and I love you too. And time to have fun. Okay.
All right. I'll work on it.
Go crazy. Be like me. I'm just a little kid in a big body. Go crazy.
Thank you, Emma.
Love you. Bye.